Hey guys, welcome back, it's Meg. Today we're going to be running a 25 Tyrannical Spires. You can find my stat weights in the top left, my legendary in the top right, and my trinkets and talent choices in the bottom right. I'm also using the Magic Broom instant mount from the Hallow's End event. You can get this off the Headless Horseman, and it does persist through the entire week of Hallow's End, or however long that holiday is. And then you can also see that my screen is a bit darker than normal. That's because I am using the Inky Black potions. It is a Tyrannical week, so we're just going to go ahead and do this first pull as normal, and it is also a Sanguine week, so we're going to be making sure that we are killing either the Goliath first, or we're going to make sure that we are knocking away the smaller ads so that he doesn't full heal in the Sanguine when he's doing his little Neil channel thing. I can't remember the name. It is also storming, so you're going to see me getting hit by a lot of them. I do try to eat them as much as I can because I can still spinning crane kick while I'm in the air, whereas someone else may not be able to use their abilities while they're getting knocked by storming, so I do my best to try and get those out of the way for everyone. Not super important, but you can use Fallen Order here just for that little bit of extra damage. By the time that you need it on the next platform, it will be up, or you also have Crane if it has a couple seconds left on it. Whether or not you pull the Lieutenant first or the pack at the top of the stairs first depends really on what kind of cooldowns you have as a group, mainly DPS cooldowns. We didn't really have anything, so we go ahead and do Incinerator first. I'm going to go ahead and use Crane here, just because you're not going to need it until after the first boss. This Lieutenant's going to take a little bit longer than usual just because we aren't sending any cooldowns on it, so you do end up using Fallen Order on this guy as well if you don't have any cooldowns from the DPS. I go ahead and click off my inky black potion here just because the little orbs that come out of the bird are a little bit harder to see when you do have the darker skybox on, so I went ahead and took it off and I'll put it back on afterwards. Something I wish I would have done here is held on to diffuse. I meant to use Fort Brew when I got that spear, but you can diffuse this magic debuff back onto the boss for some damage, but I didn't have it because I used it earlier. But that is something that you can do here, and that will give you actually a good amount of damage in here. Spires is really good for diffuse. Gonna go ahead and reapply my Inky Black, and we're just gonna use Crane here as well. Not gonna need it for a while, but there is a little bit of damage going out, both with the tank, the bleeds, and the Praetor Darkseekers hitting the DPS. Normally you could chain this 3-pack into the next pack, but because it is Sanguine, we don't want to run the risk of having the Goliaths be sitting in Sanguine and full healing, because this pull gets pretty dangerous, especially if you fall behind on kicks. With a prop Paladin, it's not so much of an issue, but it's better to be consistent. I went ahead and popped Fallen Order here as well, just in case anything gets off. I want to be able to heal up quickly, as well as just maintenance on the tank so I can do some damage. Right here, I do end up using Cocoon. Normally I like to save it for the Goliath pull, but I do have to use it there just because I didn't want him to die. You can go ahead and use Crane on the next pull, and I also usually end up using Fallen Order there as well, just because it's a pretty big pull and you really want to make sure you get through it with everyone alive, otherwise things can get super messy with Sanguine and the Goliath. Because it's not fortified, I don't actually end up using Crane here, but it is an option if it's a fortified week or if you just feel unsafe or don't have Fallen Order. Gonna go ahead and use Fallen Order here because for the next boss it'll be up. We also have Crane, we also have Bubble, and we have Bop and Lay on Hands from the Paladin, so we'll be okay going to the boss if we use Fallen Order here. While we have Lust running, you're going to go ahead and use Fallen Order, and you're just going to pump single target into the people that have the bleeds, and then after your Lust falls off, you can go ahead and start using things like calling for block, or asking for bubble or sack or anything from your tank, but you just want to take advantage of the Lust and just use that for your healing, and then you can go ahead and start using the other things that get rid of it instantly or help you a significant amount once cooldowns and Lust are done running. We do end up having a couple of deaths here just to the little orbs that are coming out, but we can go ahead and just get him up real quick and continue the boss as normal. Normally towards the end of the last boss, I try and hold on to Fallen Order and Crane because typically we've been pulling the Lieutenant as well as this Hellion, but we are going to be skipping it in this case and just pulling the Executioner. This feels a little bit scary with the Dark Lashes going out, so I'm just going to go ahead and use Crane, and we're going to make sure that we are getting the kicks and the dispels on those abilities there. And then we're going to go ahead and just continue to spin and get those enveloping breaths out for this. On this boss, I've gotten to the point where I've started using Fallen Order on cooldown. With the Purifying Blast, it does do a lot of single target damage, which means you have to do a lot of single target healing, and that drains Monk's mana pools very quickly. We do have AMS, we do have Diffuse, Fort Brew, you can pre-bop it as well, we also have Sack, we have lots of things to deal with it in this group, but that isn't the case all of the time. Typically, the way that I cycle my cooldowns, I use Diffuse and then Fort Brew and then Bubble. In this group, I can also call for AMZ or I can call for Bop. I mentioned this in our fortified version of this key as well, that I am terrible at this upstairs portion. It is very, very hard for me for some reason just to stay alive up here while doing healing in melee. I am going to be eating the storming as much as I can, but outside of that I am pretty much just looking out for myself. Thankfully it is not fortified, so it is a bit easier this week, but these angels always seem to give me some sort of trouble. If you're having a hard time seeing like I usually do, you can use the overtuned corgi goggles and it will turn all of your allies, including the angels that fly up behind you and block your view, it'll turn them into corgis, so they will be much smaller and you'll be able to see it much easier. Typically on a fortified week, I would normally use all of my cooldowns on this, but I do try to hold on to Crane because it does save quite a bit of mana on the last boss, and that is something that we are really looking to do, is conserve mana, because it is a Tyrannical week, and this boss does require a lot of healing in the intermission and during the dot that she puts out. In this dungeon we did skip Oros and Sagadon, so we are going to be slowed and taking 50% increased physical damage, but that's really only something you have to worry about for the tank in terms of damage taken. Otherwise, we just want to make sure that we are looking out for the frontals, to make sure that we are baiting it to the back so that we can get as much melee uptime as possible and not have to chase it or move too far out of the way because we are slowed. I'm going ahead and using Crane here just because I want to conserve mana as much as I can early on, and we're still waiting on Fallen Order for about 20 seconds. Bear in mind that you are not slowed during this, so if you are running around over everybody, they are going to be slow and you are going to be fast for the duration of Crane.
Thank you.
went ahead and used Fallen Order so we can get some of these abyssal detonations taken care of. I'm still sitting on my defensives because I want to be able to use Diffuse to get rid of the debuff if it is applied to me, and I want to use Fortified Brew for when I'm really low on mana and maybe can't afford to top myself all of the way. I'm sitting at about 50% even with the boss's health, so we're looking pretty good. We do still have Revival again for the next intermission dispels, and that saves us a good amount of mana there as well. At this point in the fight, it's pretty much just cycling through all of your cooldowns, using Fort Brew, making sure that we're using health pots and other cooldowns like that, and using Fallen Order pretty much on cooldown. The only time I wouldn't use it was in the middle of the intermission. You can spot heal pretty well by yourself there, but you want to be making sure that you're using your Fallen Order when there is group-wide healing instead of just single. Alright, and that brings us to the end of our 25 Tyrannical Spires. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. I'll also be posting the link to the Mistweaver guide and the FAQ down below in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video.